From rumored $1 million deals to TV spots and more, collegiate athletes are constantly finding new ways to make money off their name, image, and likeness. But what former stars missed out? In this video, I take a look at the top 5 college football stars that would have been young millionaires before getting drafted. Let's lead off with some honorable mentions because there are a lot of guys that could have been on this list. Vince Young. Combined playing for Texas with a 30-2 record, electric play on the field, and his best performance in a game of the decade candidate in the national championship, the money coming in may have been enough to make him consider staying in Austin for his senior year. Lamar Jackson. Speaking of electrifying, Jackson was that guy. Even his highlights from high school went viral. Combine that with the fact that each time he stepped on the field it was a can't-miss game, especially in this Heisman winning season, and he played a whole year after winning the Heisman, no doubt he would have brought in bank. Our final honorable mention is Bo Jackson. If you watch football, you know Bo. And if you don't know Bo, watch his 30 for 30. Bo Jackson was a 3-sport letterman at Auburn and would have been breaking records both on and off the field. Just imagine if the Bo Knows campaign had started in Auburn. Now let's get started with our top 5, and coming in at the 5 spot is Dion Sanders. Sanders was another multi-sport stud, running track and playing baseball and football for Florida State. While at the time corners weren't really known as stars on the field, primetime brought shine to the position, and he got involved in the game in as many ways as possible, excelling at special teams and breaking the school record for punt return yard. He was 3rd team All-American in '86 and a 2-time consensus All-American in '87 and '88. Dion brought the swagger that is now synonymous with the cornerback position, and built a brand his senior year at Florida State as primetime that would follow him throughout his NFL career. According to then Florida State coach Bobby Bowden, when Dion came to Florida State, the first 3 years he was no different from anyone else. There was nothing different about him except that he was a great football player. That was very obvious. But on his last year, he kind of started showboating. I think somebody convinced him that if you're a showboat, you'll make a lot of money, so he wanted to make a lot of money, and he did. From talking trash to opposing benches to showing up to the stadium in a limo wearing a tux, Sanders made statements both on and off the field. Quote him, "How do you think defensive backs get attention? They don't pay nobody to be humble." Dion's confidence was backed up by his playing ability, and the sky would have been the limit for how he could have marketed himself if he would have been allowed to take advantage of NIL during his time at FSU. Number 4 on my list is Brian Bosworth. Was there any doubt that the Boz was going to crack this list? Not only was he one of the greatest linebackers in college football history, but he was brash, cocky, and unapologetic, making splashes on and off the field. On the field, you got production, plain and simple. As a 2-time unanimous All-American and 2-time Butkus Award winner, he was an integral part of the Sooners defense and their '85 national championship team. But somehow, even being one of the most dominant linebackers in history pales in comparison to his personality. Bosworth was larger than life. The wild hairstyles, outspoken media presence, along with his playstyle quickly made him a household name. And of course, he wasn't a stranger to controversy either, including being suspended for steroids and revealing a t-shirt reading NCAA National Communists Against Athletes, leading to him being dismissed from the team. Shortly after, Bosworth even wrote an autobiography detailing his time in Oklahoma and straining his relationship with the program, which has been mended over the years. His post-playing career has even involved various roles in both movies and TV spots, including most recently everyone's favorite Dr. Pepper advertisements. Oh, and he has a 30 for 30 as well. One thing was certain about Bosworth. He stood out and would have certainly been one of the highest grossing players of his era. Number 3 is Reggie Bush. Back when USC was at the epicenter of college football, Reggie Bush was a huge part of their success. Week in and week out, you would tune in to watch USC games because Bush was a constant highlight reel. His elusiveness was unmatched. And USC found a way to get the ball in his hands, whether it was in the return game, running the football, or catching it. His first year at USC, he broke the freshman all-purpose yards record, and he really caught fire his sophomore year, getting invited to the Heisman ceremony along with his quarterback Matt Leinart, and helping lead the Trojans to a national title. His final year would be his best, winning the Heisman Trophy and leading the nation in all-purpose yards per game with over 2,200 total yards and 18 touchdowns. It also included a memorable moment against Notre Dame, the Bush Push, which would have looked great on the t-shirt. Now, you can't say that USC didn't at least try to get him paid. as the NCAA imposed sanctions against USC when it ruled that Bush received gifts during his time there that potentially amounted to up to $300,000. The sanctions included vacated wins, forfeiting of his Heisman, bowl and scholarship bans, and USC dissociating itself from Bush for about 10 years. If you watched college football during the Reggie Bush era, you know he likely deserved that much money, if not more, during his time in LA. And if we've learned anything from the recent deals Caleb Williams has signed, we know Bush would have made bank. Also, give this man his Heisman back. Johnny Manziel is number 2. The dude's nickname was literally Money Manziel. You know the marketing possibilities were endless. Flashy would be an understatement describing Manziel's play at quarterback when he burst onto the scene as a redshirt freshman in 2012. He caught the eyes of the nation, leading the Aggies to an upset win over number 1 Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and he never looked back. That season, he became the first freshman to win the Heisman, putting up an insane stat line, including over 5,100 total yards and 47 touchdowns. He also broke multiple records, including national freshman records for total offense in the season and rush yards by a quarterback, and SEC records for total offense in a game and season. And he's on the leaderboard for just about every quarterback stat at Texas A&M despite only playing 2 full seasons. Controversy threw Manziel into the spotlight even further, which included him potentially taking money for autographs before the 2013 season, and his constant appearances at high-end parties with celebrities like Drake. Manziel even laid down a blueprint for current players to take advantage of the NIL system. And I haven't even hit on the fact that Manziel played for a university that is now at the forefront of handing out those NIL bags, allegedly. There's no doubt in my mind that many of those bags would have been sent Manziel's direction. Let's be honest, with the way that Manziel stimulated the school, athletic department, and the economy of College Station, he deserved to be getting his share of the pie. And if NIL deals were in place, he would have broke some off-the-field records as well. Finally, at number 1, Tim Tebow. Tebow mania. Tebowing. That one speech he gave after a loss.
But I promise you one thing, a lot of good will come out of this. You have never seen any player in the entire country play as hard as I will play the rest of the season, and you never see someone push the rest of the team as hard as I will push everybody the rest of the season, and you never see a team play harder than we will the rest of this season. God bless.
Tebow's disposition as a competitive good guy just sat well with many college football fans. Even his freshman year as a backup, he accounted for 13 touchdowns and had one of the more viral moments of his career with his signature jump pass against LSU. And it was only up from there. He truly burst onto the scene his sophomore season, setting multiple records including a school record for rush yards by a quarterback, the SEC single season rushing and total touchdown records, and that year he won the Heisman. The hype was in full swing. His jersey became one of the most popular in the nation, and Tebow didn't see a dime. He played all 4 years at Florida, ending his collegiate career with 5 NCAA records, 14 SEC records, and 28 school records. Oh, and 2 national titles on top of that. You take his on-field accomplishments, his unique skill of being a bruising dual-threat quarterback, mix in his competitive nature that was on full display before, during, and after every game, sprinkle in his clean-cut image, public openness about his Christian beliefs, and his personal story, you end up with Tim Tebow. In my mind, the most marketable college athlete potentially of all time. And if you don't believe me, just take a look at the empire he's built near solely off his collegiate career. Who knows how big it could have been if he had a 4-year head start. There are tons of deserving players that could have been on this list, so let me know in the comment section who I missed. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me out a bunch. Check out this video here, and as always, have a great day, and see y'all at the next one.